Right, Cheech, man. So, dude, we got off a 4-hour monster unofficial podcast yesterday. And it's a shame I didn't hit
Yeah.
record. I think somebody forgot to hit record. Damn it, Mr. Black. Come on.
No,
Hit
Mr. Black.
record.
He's got
But
to get with it.
we are gonna continue our grand encyclopedia of punk rock. Now, we have recorded episode one. It's not out yet. It's on its way, it's brewing. But this is our new series. We're still on the prog series. We just filmed one with the legendary Mr. Silky Joe Silkman
Yeah.
on our the greatest keyboard players. So watch out for that as well. But this is chapter two of our encyclopedia of punk
Yep.
rock, and specifically the philosophers and philosophies of punk, right? And then we're
Yes.
gonna have a little thing about the Grammys at the end,
We'll
which
talk a little bit
I
about
know
that.
you're
Yeah.
happy, bad, funny one. By the way, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, dude, if, there's something to reflect. If Bad Bunny won, I'm gonna tell Megadeth released a new album. How come they didn't win?
I know.
It's a little
We'll
joke.
save. We'll save it to the
Yeah.
end.
But anyway, so Chiz, you tell me, what do you want to start with this? Because philosophy,
So
there is a philosophy. I'm sorry,
yeah.
punk. There's a philosophy in it.
Oh yeah. So what the way I wrote this is I wrote the I'm going to give you my
Well,
philosophy of what punk is,
well,
and then I have a bunch of philosophers that inspired
well,
the
well,
punker, the punk
how about
rocker.
this? How about this? Can I give you my thesis and you tell me if I'm wrong or right? You tell me if
Yeah, yeah.
you're the
Hey,
doctor, you're
go
the
right ahead.
doctoral supervisor. I'm the thesis student.
You go right ahead. I
Okay.
like that.
Punk is nihilistic,
Yep.
anarchistic,
Yep.
communistic. Now, by the way, those are not words. This is just like I'm making up words here.
Right.
Communistic. There is a sense also of dread where people with the young anger,
Mm-hmm.
angst, backed by people who are really smart. So they are
Yeah.
getting fueled by the philosophies of like, the 21st century.
Yep.
Specifically, we're gonna name a few. So, by the way, we talked about this, but we talked about this before. Like,
Yeah.
Schopenhauer, Marx are big names.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the existentialists as well,
Yeah.
especially the ones like Camus that
And
concern
I got
themselves.
some surprise
Well,
ones
I'm,
that I
I'm
did not
excited for this.
that I
And
didn't
by the way,
know.
in philosophy, there was an anarchy movement that a
Yeah.
lot of and I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Yep.
But punk is all about anger, angst, anarchy,
Mm-hmm.
rage, and a sense of dread, right? Because,
Yeah. Yeah.
but anyway, all right. That's my thesis.
It's perfect. That what you said is everything. What I wrote counterculture ideology
Mhm.
rooted in anti-establishment.
Well, Cheech, can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Now, the 60s was countercultural as well.
Right.
What is the difference between the 60s and this punk late 70s? Like,
That's a
what do you think about that?
great,
Right?
great question. In the 60s, everything was flowers in your hair, peace and love, hippies, people running around naked, holding breastfeeding their children and playing acoustic guitar at the same time. And that's like 67. Let's just say Summer of Love is 69, but it started at Monterey Pop 67. There were explosive music like punk, like the MC5 and Jimi Hendrix, but there's also the mellow music going on. Crosby,
Mhm.
Stills, Nash and Young, Dylan. Now, when punk comes out in 75, technically, 70, in the beginning, it's when the Pistols started to write Nevermind, the Bullocks. Um, Kids needed something different. So they were anger. So boys and girls were just angry, pissed at establishment. They're all I'm thinking more
You,
this wasn't happening in New York. I'm thinking,
but
well, it was happening in
right.
New York
You,
too, but I'm thinking more London,
you, and you kind of lived it, but not really, but you kind of lived it. Do you think
Yeah.
there was a feeling that the establishment for the from the youth perspective, because I got to hit with this interesting idea today that to look in the eyes of the youth is different from like someone old, right?
Yeah.
So do you think the youth, you think like the establishment, they thought it let them down? Like, is that when they
Oh,
reacted
the
to that?
youth, especially England, they had nothing. And I'm not talking about the prog rock guys that went to the Royal Academy and stuff. They had money. These kids like Sid Vicious and Johnny Rotten, they had nothing. Their future was being drug dealers,
They were they
criminals.
were shopping at sex shops.
They were work. Well, actually, some of them had jobs. Glenn Metlack worked at Malcolm McLaren's sex shop, believe it or not. Well, Steve Jones slept on the floor because he was homeless. But most of them they had nothing. They were homeless. Their parents either worked in factories.
Hmm.
Sid mother was a junkie. You
Think
know,
about the parallels with
yeah,
and we saw we you did an excellent job in our first episode on the new wave of British heavy metal.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
the reality, the working
Oh,
class.
that was the way England was. Now, New York punk is the same way. You got
Mhm.
Mayor BM,
Yep, yep, yep.
1976. It's in shambles. Um, 42nd Street, there's hookers, there's junkies. The Velvet
Famously,
Underground is singing
a-
about that.
and if
Heroin.
I can make a connection, the remote now it's funny, but there's an art rock scene in the in American New York punk, but
Yeah, yeah,
the Ramones sing about that grime, and
yeah.
years later, Grandmaster Flash later are going to
The
describe New
message.
York.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, hip hop is going to do the job of describing
Right.
this like scene. But yeah, yeah,
So it's no coincidence it's happening in New York and London
yeah,
because they were both fucked up places in 1975, 76. I remember going into Manhattan as a kid, and I said this in the show before, to the Ringling Brothers Circus and going through parts of it where I was scared. I was like, "What? Where are we? What planet is this?" And it was like
Mhm.
42nd Street. So
Famously, for our viewers out there, watch Taxi Driver if you want to see what New
yes,
York looked like, right? Like that
good
time.
point. Yeah, it was not a good place. And and punk was the opposite of the hippie movement. It was anger, angst. Kids had nothing. They quit school, so they started a movement. Anybody can be in a punk band.
Yeah.
And all the kids started to go to shows. Things started to happen around
Eh,
75
Um,
in England, in
Something
London.
that just popped in my head with the 60s countercultural flower
Yeah,
power movement. There was a sense and I love this because of the psychologist Timothy Leary, especially with his promotion of LSD and
yeah,
tune in, drop out,
right.
let just, screw the system.
Yeah,
Let's be the system, right? Like that.
yeah.
While punks were
Punks were taking
yo,
speed.
they were angry. They had Molotovs. Like I think like
Yeah,
the Clash are fascinating, and hopefully we get to talk about the Clash in our encyclopedic series.
oh, we
Clash were
will. Yeah,
political. Instead, they use that energy for politics on a global
yeah,
scale. Um, Sex Pistols to Anarchy in the UK, they want it bad.
yeah,
Ramones, now I want to sniff some glue. Blitzkrieg Bop, like
yeah.
Beat on the Brat, like what they were and there's another great song about a male prostitution on 53rd and 3rd, I think the song is called. But yeah, they're describing the world through their eyes.
Yeah,
And going back to our episode, we're gonna come out with the chapter one, punk's prehistoric punk.
yeah.
Lou Reed was doing it in the 60s, but he was way ahead of his time. It didn't fit in the flower power mold.
No, no. People were like, that he was so different, Iggy Pop was doing it too within the
Hmm.
Flower Power, but they just thought he was
Search and
nuts.
Destroy.
Yeah, they just thought he was nuts,
I want to be your dog.
Yeah, in 1970 that song came out.
Mhm.
So, the difference is the kids they wanted an outlet that wasn't there, and they created it, in 1975, 76, Bands like the Pistols were forming in England, The Damned, uh, Sid Vicious was singing with Susie and the Banshees at one point, and they were coming up.
They were
Sid
part of
tried to
that
get
scene.
Sid was trying to get in all these bands. He went to a Damned show. They promised him he would be the singer of the Damned, and the guy was still in the band. So Sid threw a bottle at the singer, and he missed him, and it hit the wall, a beer bottle, and it hit a girl in the eye, and he blinded the girl, and he went to jail. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that went on, at these punk shows: violence, spitting, all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
Have you seen the show Freaks and Geeks?
Oh yeah,
They kind of pay homage to that when one of the characters goes, I think, to a punk club, and
yeah.
these dudes are scary. Like
Oh
he
yeah,
tries to date a punk girl.
yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of funny, like what you're saying. Like, yeah, these dudes were
Oh
doing.
yeah, yeah. I've played some punk clubs. I played the Pyramid Club in
It's
Manhattan.
like you're lucky if you come out. It seems to me like you're lucky if you come out of there alive and making a connection to the. 'Cause right now my mind's firing with the new wave of British heavy metal with Iron Maiden, Paul Di'Anno style, which Paul
Oh
Di'Anno
yeah.
looks like he could kill you.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I think.
and punk influenced metalheads as well. Punk was influenced. They had a huge influence on the new
Mhm.
wave of British heavy metal. That was
Now, I,
definitely,
something else popped in my head. Judas Priest. Now, did
Hmm?
punk influence Judas Priest, especially
No,
on, okay, especially on like, especially on British metal, that album?
no. On British Steel,
British
that
Steel.
was just pure metal. Priests were the opposite of punk. You had a counter music going on parallel to punk of heavy metal already. You had Thin Lizzy,
It's just a
UFO.
coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had Priest was out in 1975, 76. The Scorpions, even though they're from Germany,
Yeah.
they were out. UFO was out.
And
Thin
talk about
Lizzy.
speed. Like they were all
Yeah.
about speed, which is
Yeah.
a characteristic of punk, like speed.
Right. But metal was fine. Thin Lizzy was on top of the charts. Kiss was out there. So metal was out there, but punk was just brewing. It was coming up and it was
Yeah.
working its way up. And Malcolm McLaren is the genius
Yeah.
who made.
He's the arch in many ways he's the arch and again and no one like get mad at me but I think he's the architect of punk. I
He
think
really
he's
is.
responsible for the look
He's responsible for English punk that we know.
and the
And
philosophy too behind it, as we're
definitely
going
the
to
philosophy.
discover in a
We're gonna
bit.
get into that.
Kids, take
And,
notes.
yeah, this is actually a show on philosophy more than punk rock.
Yes, yes.
But I think and also exact same things going on in New York. These kids, they're not finding any jobs. Mayor Beam, I think I'm saying it right. He fucked up New York. Where are kids getting jobs? Kids are selling smack. Heroin was a huge problem in New York City when this was happening, um, as Lou Reed put it in the song. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
yeah.
so drugs, prostitution, 42nd Street. I mean, you graduate high school in 75, 76. If you're not going to college, you're going to probably join a punk band, and go to CBGBs. There wasn't a lot for people.
And think
So,
about the change from like, and we covered Bob Dylan in our series, Bob Dylan's Greenwich Village to
oh yeah.
the change. Like, oh, Simon
And it,
Garfunkel, who were
and,
famous
it,
in
and
New
it's
York,
only a decade.
only
It's a
a
decade
decade.
later. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really it
Things got
changed.
dark because of the economy, corruption,
Yep.
grime that was happening as well. And I mean, when you and I talked about this movie, I saw it recently again, and now I realize one of the greatest, Taxi Driver. It shows
Oh, that was what, 77,
that
70.
came out in 73, I think 70.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
That's
it,
the beginning of the end when
it
Gerald Ford,
right.
when Nixon might have been president at that time, and then Ford came in and
And
fucked
dude, and
everything up.
talk about Travis Bickle, punk,
Yes.
Mohawk. Like he's anyway.
Get a Mohawk. Holy shit.
Now
It's
I'm getting
great.
fired up now. Yeah, and he wanted to kill the new politician that was trying to run. He was trying to
Yeah.
assassinate him. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's yeah. Now I'm getting you're making me think. But
That's a punk. Are you talking to me? Are you
yeah, you
talking?
talking to me? Yeah, dude, that's a punk song. You talking to me?
Totally. Um, Nonconformity, questioning authority, challenging social, political, economic injustice.
Which I think the Clash do really well, like on some of their
Oh,
early stuff.
oh, definitely. Absurd and nihilism, economic decay, lost faith in traditional institution, no future sentiment. Am I saying his name wrong?
Albert Camus.
Camus' idea that
Camusian, another Manny word invented. Camusian.
the Camusian idea that the universe is indifferent and
Yeah,
lacks an inherent
yeah,
meaning
exactly.
matched no future.
Exactly. And hence we talked about this, Johnny Rotten, no future for you. Like there's no now
Exactly.
they're referring to like the Queen, but I think more like
For
every
them,
for
because the
them.
Queen is giving them no future. Where's
Exactly.
Johnny Rotten gonna get a
So
job?
what do you do with the world? And then hence one of the songs, Anarchy in the UK, just destroy it, burn it all.
Exactly. Camus rejected both religion, faith, total nihilism in favor of responsibility. So how's that sound?
Good so far.
All right. So we won't talk about punk. We're gonna talk about the philosophers
Yeah,
now
yeah,
and
yeah.
get,
I
you
know
know.
we're going
So
crazy, but we're gonna keep it philosophy wise.
any questions about, you know, the punks before we go on? Anything we should bring up
No,
about,
I think we set it up really well. It's different from the 60s counterculture movement.
yeah.
Um, Things get darker, things get more just angry. I think that's the best way I can describe it. Angry. And
Yeah,
the kids
yeah.
are not about flower power. Like if there was a naked chick, I mean, God forbid, you already know what's gonna
Oh,
happen.
I know.
Like,
And I think kids are more angry in England than in
yeah,
New York.
New
I think
York
New
is
York,
different.
yeah, New York, we had a pretty good president, Jimmy Carter, I think. I don't know, people might laugh at me, but I was a kid in 76. I thought he
You
was okay.
you know what it is though? But I just feel like I don't know, just a hot take. There's an art rock scene in New York,
Yeah.
and it got lumped with punk, but you know, and the only really punks, there were a few, but famously the Ramones debut. I think that was like a
Yeah.
statement, right?
Yeah.
Um, but Dee Dee, I think that's his name, the guitarist, I read somewhere that his goal was to show the kids like you don't need much. All you need is
Yeah.
three chords and the truth.
That's
So,
it.
so there's something like kind of like innocent about it.
Yeah.
That well, as you know, McLaren being sneaky is at a famous CBGB performance, and he's
Yeah.
not watching the Ramones. We talked about this
He's
already.
watching Richard Hell.
Yeah, and he takes that and
Yeah.
brings it to England, and that becomes like, and we're gonna talk about the philosophy soon. This is
Yeah.
gonna fuel this like
He
generation.
took McLaren took the Blank Generation album by
Yeah,
Richard Hell,
yeah.
the Leather, some of the Dead Boys stuff, but mainly Richard Hell's look. Leather, the guy was hanging himself with a microphone, cutting himself, doing all kinds of crazy shit. Had pins in his nose,
And I
and
feel
doing
like
the
those
punk stuff.
performances, even though they're crazy, they served as a sort of catharsis for himself and the
Yeah,
crowd because they wanted.
yeah,
Think about it, the kids. And again, like I mean, I love school, but kids, you've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where the kids are
yeah.
so bored and like they go to
Oh
these
yeah,
shows and it's total catharsis. Like, oh
yeah.
man.
In the 70s, kids were bored. They
No,
wanted
and
something
Iggy Pop
different.
was already doing it. He was giving it to them. He was cutting himself on stage.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
horrible, but
But
that's what.
maybe Iggy Pop wasn't as popular as we think he was back then. He
Mhm.
probably wasn't, until later, until punk
Right,
made him more
right,
popular.
right,
Because what he was doing was like a counterculture to the hippies. Like, they're like, this guy's, we're on drugs. What drug is he taking? You
right,
know?
right, right.
Um, so the first philosopher in my research, and I've been obsessed with this guy, and it's bad.
Schopenhauer,
Yeah, it's bad
Arthur
to be obsessed
Schopenhauer.
with Schopenhauer, but I think that's where I'm at right
Just be
now in my
careful,
life.
man. Just be careful.
That's where I'm at in my
Yo,
life right
come
now.
talk to your therapist.
I know. We had a 4 hour session. How much do I owe you? Don't charge me for the last hour.
Mr.
Um,
Black, you're gonna charge him this much.
yeah. Mr. Black is obsessed with Schopenhauer. Um, at least it's not. At least I'm not obsessed with a
Yeah.
woman who's dead, who died in
It's funny with
1939.
with Joe when he mentioned that he loves Annie from Renaissance. Annie
Yeah, I
was
forget her. I forget
anyway,
her
I was
last
like,
name.
yo, Joe, you remind me of Cheech's like muse, the girl from the 1940s.
Yeah, like if you're obsessed with Layla Waddles, who died in 1939, I think Schopenhauer and Layla Waddles are my obsessions right now. And for those of you who are Thelmalites, you will know who Layla Waddles is, and we'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit
But,
about
but
that.
but this is fascinating. So you mentioned Arthur Schopenhauer and
Yeah,
German philosopher. This dude is writing in like the 1800s. We're gonna say 1840s, whatever,
yeah, yeah.
1830s. What in the world? What is this dude, German? What does he have to do with punk? Like, what's
Well,
going on?
okay, he was a kindred spirit with his attitude. and he's called the post-punk philosopher. He believes that a place of suffering and unfulfilled desire resonates. No future, nihilism, angst found in the lyrics. So he's saying that suffering and unfulfilled desire, those are the two things that resonated with the punks.
Mm.
His suffering and his desire.
Mm.
And I mean, how do you feel about that? Because he brought the nihilistic, approach and that angst that the kids, that the not the kids, but the performers wrote. And the punks were no dummies, by the way. They were
Oh
reading,
no, that's a
they
mistake
were
people
reading this
make.
guy,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. No,
So
you're right because uh and it's crazy because you could go deep into this. And I won't go too deep, crazy into it, but like he was responding, and we talked about this before. He was responding to Immanuel Kant. So he started the Copernican
yes,
revolution in philosophy.
right.
And so Schopenhauer was responding to that and using ideas like I think the phenomena, noumena, and what
Mhm.
he came up with was yeah, pessimistic philosophy. Like he was
Yeah.
drained.
Bleak. The world is bleak,
Well, yeah,
you
and he
know.
thought the world was like this like blind, insatiable, irrational force. He called it the will.
Yeah,
And so we were reacting to this, but we can't because there's no meaning.
right.
And
And like we're gonna have another show on the will, but just like a sneak peek.
yes,
The His will is different than will to power
hmm,
and do it thy will.
yep,
The true will, Crowley's will. So there's three wills that this is the most bleakest one. The other two are at least giving you some hope, a lot of hope, actually.
right.
Um,
And no, and he said life is suffering. I mean, you can hear in Nevermind the Bollocks, where in songs like Bodies,
yeah,
which is based on a true story, by the way, which is
yes.
horrifying. Johnny Ryan actually based on a true story. I'm a fan
Pauline, Pauline,
on a
yeah,
fan, which is horrifying.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you can't. It's not now. It's controversial, but I think it's an anti-abortion song. But the song
yeah,
itself is describing how the world reacts to a pregnancy. It doesn't care.
yeah,
It's nothing.
yeah, yeah,
And even Johnny Ron says, die, you bloody brat. Like, uh,
yeah.
I don't want a baby that looks like that. Like,
Yeah, it's really
horrible.
disturbing.
What do
It's
you
a
do with
bad
that?
song. Yeah. And it comes from that, Schopenhauer suffering, unfulfilled desire.
Yeah.
An unfulfilled
And the
desire,
there's no purpose.
yeah, there's no point. Unfulfilled desire to have a child, then you find out you're pregnant. That should be the greatest thing in the world. But when you're
Yeah.
16 years old and you're in London and you have nothing and you can't tell your
No,
parents,
no. And
which,
think about it. Like, I always say, like, I don't know if you don't mind if I go on this tangent where
please,
I
go.
disagree with this punk's philosophy. I love punk music
Yeah,
especially as like a thinker. I think that's what
yeah,
you and I are thinkers. So if when we
yeah,
listen to punk, we love it because of what they're saying, right? And
yeah,
like the music as well, which people
yeah.
forget about. It's more than just fashion. It's the music.
No, there's meaning in the
Right.
lyrics.
I disagree with that with like the punk message. I have one of my side projects is to deconstruct Schopenhauer, deconstruct Nietzsche,
Yeah,
attack them because I don't agree with a lot of what they say. You were
right.
shocked when I told you I don't agree with it was an existentialist philosopher because I think it was Camus. I love reading
Yeah,
Camus, but I
yeah.
disagree with him.
Well, Camus is the worst.
Well, yeah, because he said that life is so bleak and meaningless, the universe does not care about you.
Yeah.
So in the from the punk perspective, that makes sense.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
back to that body song. The thing is, and going back to do what I will and all that, and that's obviously a cult of self-worship.
Yeah.
And we talked about this in a little sneak preview about the will. Make sure we're gonna record an episode on this will episode. It's gonna be the
Yeah.
first esoteric hour episode, so get
Yes.
excited. But
Definitely.
but the thing is, it's like, where's God in the equation?
Yeah. I mean, going
That's the thing,
back,
and that's the main thing. For example, like
God is dead according to
no,
Nietzsche.
and think about the hermeneutic of looking through Jesus's eyes or God's eyes or whatever. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm just saying an example.
Yeah.
Bodies. Every time I love the song's music,
Yeah.
but then sometimes I get kind of cringe at the lyrics because
Yeah.
great lyrics. It's great.
It's a great story
But why am in my head, poor woman, why is no one helping her? Right? That
because she has nobody to help her. And this is my theory.
no, and it's missing, and that's the thing that's missing. The solution is that we need to help these kind of people. Another one,
Yeah.
no feelings on no bollocks. There's a poor guy. It's literally like, angst and what
And
I
this
mean?
is that song is about Johnny Rotten's father brought home a girl for the weekend, like a foster child, who was clinging to Johnny Rotten, and they were
Mhm.
gonna maybe keep her. And he was like, I hate you. I have no feeling for you.
No,
I
it
have
makes
no
sense.
feeling.
It makes sense. So one of the
Yeah,
missing equations is God, and Schopenhauer's philosophy. Now, it's God's missing. There's no God there, and it
there's
makes
no God.
sense.
Yeah,
But in my opinion, the universe does care. That's the difference, all right? So anyway, I go against, but I love the music anyway. But it's great because this episode's gonna be about
yeah,
we're gonna explore these ideas and
yeah. Where
for
they
our
come
viewers
from.
out there, listen, you can disagree with me. Comment below. What do you think? Because
But
this is
there is a little bit of positivity in Schopenhauer. In my next point.
well, that's the punk uh response is art and music where I know where you're going with this. One idea is asceticism, which obviously the punks didn't do, but art. That's
Yep.
the escape.
The power of music is the highest art form
Which
because
Nietzsche
it's
famously said will also argue.
right. Because it's a direct manifestation of the will.
No,
And punks took it as
dude,
primal,
no, and not
raw.
even that. Dude, it suspends the will's demands. And this is Schopenhauer's will. So
Yeah,
this. Music stops the world. Like
it does.
when you're in music, dude, it's like you're losing yourself. And
Yeah.
actually, the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who is famous with coming up with the concept of this force, and he put it in scientific psychological terms.
Yeah.
But he said, is this state of mind where you're doing something and you get lost in it,
Mhm.
and he
It's
called
like
it.
you're in another realm. And now being a performer,
And you know this.
you're on the next level. And that's where like I always got into the Crowley philosophy of, do it thy wilt and your true will. And he talked about using spiritual techniques to use your will, like doing yoga,
Yeah, like
and of course he used magic, but
mysticism. Yeah.
in mysticism, but something I never did. I used music, so that's where my will went into, and that's why Thelema always resonated with me,
She's something
just the philosophy.
something that I just came up with. It's funny because going back to our Jesus Christ Superstar episode and
Yeah,
for our viewers out there, Cheech and I are like Christians, so like we always talk about this, but Jesus says deny yourself. Do you think he's saying deny your will? Like, what do you think about that?
that is a
Is that
good one.
we can pause that there. We don't have to talk about this, but it came to my
Oof.
head.
Well, if he's saying deny your will, it's almost like Schopenhauer in a way, like, not to diss Jesus, but like, how could you deny what you want to do?
No, well, that's the thing. Yeah, and Jesus says deny yourself and come follow me. Interesting, right? Like kind of
Well,
like
then
God,
everybody would be a priest.
kind of makes you think, right? Or not.
Yeah. And I got, what do I got today? What do I got here? So I got my boy St. Jude.
My
He's
boy.
chilling.
I love Jude. Oh man, me and my brother. Shout out if I don't think my brother Tobias, or Toby Cheech.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shout out to him. He and I have
Yeah,
had. I gave
well,
him actually, oddly enough, I gave him a St. Jude necklace for
oh,
Christmas.
nice. Oh,
Little,
awesome.
little
Yeah, I had
story
a
behind
lot
that.
of fun with him many years ago at the
Tobias,
temple.
I don't, if Tobias watches this, I don't think he would, but
Yeah,
he
he's a
know. I don't
comedian.
think he knows about the show. But if he watches this and he gets to this part, shout out to Toby.
Shout out, man. Great dude. Um, but yeah, so the power of music. I mean, well, going back to the Jesus thing, that's a tough one. That's a tough call. Oh, this phone keeps popping out.
No, and I say that now I'm speaking as a theologian. And again, we talked about this because shout out to our Jesus Christ Superstar. Watch that if you want
Oh
to
yeah,
know more about religion.
we figured out Rush on that too. By the way,
Oh, dude,
we're the
I
only
was like,
podcasters in history to figure that out.
goosebumps because I was like, wait,
Yeah,
is Neil Peart that intelligent that he did that?
and he is.
If he
We
is,
figured it
dude,
out.
Neil Peart, You are
And
insane.
and
But
the temple,
no,
the
and think
temple,
about it. Jesus was mad at the corruption of the
yeah,
priests. They were misleading the people, which is brilliant. That
yeah,
means there's
yeah.
a secret religious thing. And we know that. Anyway, I'm not even gonna go there because other we won't shut up. But I will say, I always thought about that. And um, like Schopenhauer, like he thinks the world is will, and the punks also. Yeah, you're right. I love how the punk philosophy is Schopenhauer.
It all Schopenhauer.
It
Punk
is.
philosophy, he's the number one influence. I mean, you're gonna be surprised about the other ones I found, but Schopenhauer is number one.
I agree.
Right. Like, I mean, I'm obsessed with Crowley now because I had to bring up my girl Layla Waddles last night, you
And
know.
Crowley has a different influence on different rock stars, which
So yeah, Crowley's
that's
gonna
another
influence.
story.
Crowley's about real creativity, like
Yeah.
Jimmy Page,
Yep.
creating art, you
And he
know. So
himself was an artist as well, which is kind of like
yeah, so the
his
punks would not be into Crowley at
and,
all, I don't think.
no, no, no. And he's definitely more of like he was into mountain climbing, like Ubermensch,
Yeah.
kind of like Nietzschean
I
kind of
mean, the only thing they'd be into was the heroin that Crowley used, or the
Sid Vicious would
drugs,
be into
the
that.
escapism, you know. But other than that, no. Schopenhauer is the dude to be a punk. And I love this, the power of music. Music is the highest art form because it's a direct manifestation of the will.
Hmm.
And the punks took it as primal, raw essence. Um, that was rooted in punk, and they used this to express their own inner turmoil that was going on.
And think about it, like and again, I have I'm lost in the oceans of topographic oceans behind me.
Yeah.
And now think about it. This requires intellectualism. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie to you. You need to know what you for the kid, like let's say like Schopenhauer, who like, these kids, you they don't have time for that, which makes sense why
No.
punk is so fast and to the point.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they play fast, and I think this is shown brilliantly in like the Buzzcocks, where their emotions, their psychological states of minds, they
Yeah.
tell you really fast. They one of my favorite songs is "What Do I Get?" Right?
Yeah.
They're saying, "What do I get?" I do this, I do that for you, but what do
Yeah.
I get? Another one
Exactly.
is "Ever Falling in Love,"
Oh,
but
that's a good
they
one.
sing it fast.
Yeah.
But there's a sense of like, this world sucks, and we want to let you know, like, but the world doesn't care about us. But what do we do?
Yeah.
And
But
that's
at
what's
the
great
same
about
time,
it.
it sounds melodic and it doesn't sound like the Sex
Well,
Pistols. It's very different
that's
musically.
another. That's another. Well, when we explore more deep into the sounds, that's another story. But
Yeah.
the Sex Pistols spearheading this movement are just like destroying everything, you know,
And to a kid,
with art, paradoxically
yeah,
saving the world through their
yeah,
art, but
yeah.
then leaving what in its place, I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Steve Jones and Johnny Rotten were studying philosophy. They knew this shit. They're not as dumb as people think they
No,
are. People
no.
think like they're idiots up there spitting. They're writing lyrics that are coming from these philosophers. And these guys are they need to this needs to be known. And as a kid, if you're listening to Nevermind the Bollocks, you're not thinking about you're thinking of the lyrics, but you're not thinking like, is that Schopenhauer? You know what I mean? Like, let me get a book on that, you know?
Yeah.
But those guys were no slouches, you know. Um, so Schopenhauer, the king of pessimism, the will leads to suffering. Life is suffering. Desire cannot be satisfied. Only temporary relief from suffering is music.
Hmm.
And that is punk.
Yeah.
You
The
have a shit listen, you have a shitty life. You go to your shitty factory job, right? What I just said, let me just say this again before I get my point. The life is suffering. Desire cannot be satisfied. The
Mhm.
only temporary relief from suffering is music. You're a kid, you know, or out of high school, you got a shitty job.
Mm.
You go there, you hate it, sucks. Boss yells at you. Come home. Your parents are fighting. You're in England. This is England, hypothetically. Maybe your dad's an alcoholic. You got no money. He's out of work. You go home. You're like, fuck. Your friend calls you up. He's
No.
like, the Sex Pistols are playing tonight. Let's go. That's where the suffering goes away. For
Yeah.
that, an
Music. Yeah, yeah,
hour
yeah.
or two
Yeah.
where
You
you're
know,
watching them.
no, and I'll be honest with you, I've been influenced as a um as a mentor and educator for a lot of people. It's because I realized that like it's like one of the things I realized like as an educator or whatever, but life sucks for a lot of kids and you
Uh,
forget that. And
yeah, yeah.
music is one of these outlets. Like also like,
Oh
I
yeah.
also think of like arts like theater or whatever. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I always tell, people I see talent and like if I see acting chops, I tell them you were born for the stage. Like
Oh yeah. You could tell a kid right away, a kid's
no,
personality.
or
Yeah.
like whatever, like create like an environment where they could provide have freedom or they don't have to worry about whatever
Yeah.
life throws at them. So if the Schopenhauer world of will is true,
Yeah.
that's music as well. Like that.
And the Schopenhauer world is true for a lot of kids. You could put this in the rap community. And
Oh,
that, you know,
well, that's why rap and hip hop rose to prominence because
yeah,
music was the escape from the awful lives that they were
these
living
kids
in.
didn't have anything. Broken homes, poor things. Biggie comes to town, their life changes. That suffering goes away. Well, it doesn't have to be punk. It could be any form. It could
Any
be,
genre,
you
yeah,
could
yeah,
just be, you could be a lawyer and have a shit ton of money and just be a manic depressive person.
yep,
And the New York Philharmonic is going to do Mozart's Requiem Mass,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you're going to go there and get lost in the music. So
yeah.
Schopenhauer, he applies to everybody,
It,
not just the
the
punks.
aesthetic, yeah, theory, yeah.
If you think about it in that sense. So
What explains punk's rise and
yeah, yeah, punk is
popularity.
he is the number one philosopher for
Mhm.
punk. You know, um, and maybe people watching this might be like, I don't think punk rockers were that smart to read. They
That's
were. And
false.
even if they weren't, and we're breaking it down, he still is the number one guy. You know, if
Yeah.
just to say like they
Well,
wrote,
it's the ideas that fuel this musical genre.
exactly. And then there's all right, anything else on him before I get to the next ones?
I think that was good.
Yeah, we could get lost in Schopenhauer.
We'll keep it short for the kids.
Okay, this guy who I love, or thought was more of a hippie, and he is a prototype of the hippie, Henry David Thoreau.
Mhm.
He comes up,
He's definitely a prototype of the hippie.
but the punks loved him. Punks embraced Thoreau as a proto punk. His philosophy of individual liberty and radical authenticity mirrors core tenets of the punk movement.
Hmm.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
No, I like that. No, I like that, and especially the that's interesting. I will say, like, how did you come the civil disobedience part too? But how did you come across that?
That I read in one of his books. I was reading online. I have the civil. I think it's a part of civil disobedience because civil disobedience is questioning government authority. Punks believed the individual should follow their own
The
consciousness.
individual conscience. That's the key
Yeah,
thing.
the
Yeah, yeah.
individual
And he
conscious.
existed during that same time as Schopenhauer, so he would be in America writing all this.
Yeah. So, civil obedience for
And he
right.
was a transcendentalist philosopher as well. So very similar to the yeah, one huge hodgepodge of all this.
Yeah. So I think the civil disobedience is a
No,
key for the punks.
and the idea of voluntary actually you just mentioned simplicity or something
Yeah.
like that, where
Well,
punks,
well,
simple.
um, well, so you have like punks embrace Thoreau as the prototype of his philosophy. Individual liberties and radical authenticity
Mm.
mirrors core tenets of punk movement.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and radical non-conformity.
Yeah.
Punks value not fitting in. I don't know if you knew this about Thoreau. Thoreau rejected social norms. He expressed it through anti-fashion choices. Everybody wore black on church on Sundays. He wore green.
Yeah. That sounds right. Standing out.
So that's another punk tenant. And Thoreau, I would never think would be a
That's
punk.
fascinating.
But How do you feel? Do you think Thoreau is a punk?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, so we got Schopenhauer as an Schopenhauer. How do I say it?
Schopenhauer.
Schopenhauer. Number one, Thoreau's behind there, but also does he is he a hippie with these attitudes? Yeah, with the
Well,
civil
you know
disobedience.
what it is that it's the idea, his ideas of deep communion with nature. So,
Yes.
so he had an influence in terms of like nonconformity. Hippie more hippie though than punk, but he definitely had that like, we're leaning towards there.
Yeah, and he was anti the Spanish War that was going
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah,
so you could see the hippie in there.
yeah.
And transcendentalism was, you wouldn't think it would be punk. You would not think transcendentalism would be a punk thing, but it really is in a sense. It has it.
Well, I think it is for that, um, like that I think it was him that I think it's him. Like he talked about simple life and think about punk,
Well, he
simple.
lived in Walden Pond in a cabin.
No, no, but think about it also in punk that let's return things back to simplicity.
Simplicity.
Why do
That's
we need, and we
yeah.
just talk about keyboards, why do we need like these keys and like a
And
thousand,
we
ten
just
thousand
talked
dollar
about the
key?
last episode. Jeffrey Down had 29 keyboards. He broke the
Yeah.
Guinness Book
And
Record.
by the way, how much was those keys back then? I mean,
Millions, like thousands of
so
dollars.
the punk's like, why do we need this? Like, let's just
Yeah.
bear and
Keep it simple. Yeah.
who cares if you don't have to play your instruments? It's all about embracing who you
Attitude,
are. Attitude.
expression. So Thoreau, we say, is a punk.
Mhm.
Definitely. Okay. Um, Another transcendentalist comes up. Who do you think that is?
Kant?
No. Well, you would consider him a transcendentalist?
No, no, no. I'm trying to think. Who is it?
Emerson.
Oh, yeah.
And not Keith, not Keith.
No, not Keith Emerson.
Different Emerson. So he comes up in punk philosophy. Trust your own intuition and instincts rather than external authorities. And this directly aligns with the punk conviction.
Hmm.
Trusting your own instincts rather than the external authorities,
Yeah,
meaning
again.
the government, the politics, the stuff that's going on.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, this is going on right now. And people are
yeah,
using this philosophy in the world we live in right now. Another thing you're probably familiar with, radical nonconformity.
yeah. Again, those ideas, transcendentalism,
Yep, self-reliance.
and very American, which makes sense
Yeah,
how it starts here and then gets brought over to England.
yeah. Self-reliant society is a conspiracy against our individualism, integrity of one's um I'm sorry. Let me say that again. Self-reliant society is a conspiracy against our individualism and the integrity of nothing that in the integrity. And then the mindset is nothing is sacred. I mean, how do you feel about that? Nothing is sacred.
Sounds right. Yeah. Same with the punks. But it's very individualism. I think that's a key thing there.
Yeah, I think I said it right. I've stumbled on my words. So I said like radical nonconformity. That's punk. Self-reliance, and then going against people and having your own individualism, and integrity is one of the punk things. That's one of their tenets, I think.
Hmm.
So yeah. So do we put Emerson as a influence on punk? This is just my research on it.
I think so, especially the individualism and again nonconformity. The transcendentalist movement is very influential.
Yeah, yeah. But Emily Dickens is a part of that, so I I don't know.
I mean, that is fascinating, right? And Frankenstein was sort of a rejection also of like what was popular at the time. Like Frankenstein is a punk
What
book.
what, what was Shelley a transcendentalist? No, she was English.
Sure, that's a
So,
great question.
but, but did it go over to England, transcendentalism? I mean, obviously with the punks it did, but Lord Byron and
I know
Percy.
it was mostly an American movement. Now, how popular it was in England, I'm not sure.
Right.
The only problem is that I'm not sure about England, but like England had like the utilitarians, the Germans had the idealists.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but that's a good question.
Right. So we have Thoreau, Emerson, Schopenhauer, all punks.
So we got nonconformists and then pessimists. That's like sounds like funk to me.
Right? Yeah. Non-conforming and their pessimism. So this is where the philosophy's going.
Yeah.
Now, this one blew my mind away. I did not think this guy would be an influence on punk, but it's in these punk journals that I've studied on punk philosophy. One of your favorite philosophers, Socrates.
Mm. He first punk.
Yeah,
He was accused of leading the young youth of Athens astray, and so put on the death penalty.
there it is. He's
Yeah.
the first punk rocker.
Yeah. For questioning society.
Questioning the core methods was asking why until people in power looked foolish. Now, this is the heart of the punk movement. Um, and the unexplained life is not worth living.
The unexamined life is not worth living. Yeah.
Yeah. Unexamined life. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Unexamined
No, no,
life
all
is not.
good. I know I quote because it's like, yeah, I love Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle,
So
but
the unexamined life
life
is
is not
not
worth
worth
living.
living. I don't think it. I think that is punk 110%.
Punk statement, yeah. Nonconformity again.
It's amazing. And for the punks, this translates into refusal to follow the herd and to commit to being
And
true to
and,
oneself and leads to
and this is
social
fa
exile.
And this is fascinating because when you compare it to like this album was based on um Indian spirituality, John Anderson reading memoirs of a yogi, the four sastras.
Yeah,
So they're getting more into like religion, whatever. I feel like Yes should have made a Catholic album, but they never did it. It would have been amazing,
I know.
but because this is very spiritual. Now they're trusting in the world. Punks are not.
No.
They're saying F the world. A lot of them are saying there is no God. Religion, no one has time for that. I'm not meditating for like 30 minutes. Like,
What?
I'm
When I
miserable. I'm
could play my
sad.
guitar and be a punk or
Yo,
go to a punk show.
screw that. I'm shooting up heroin.
Yeah,
That's the punk attitude. It's very youthful. It's very angry,
yeah,
reactionary to the world that's indifferent to them.
exactly.
So that would make sense what you're saying. Like there's
Yeah,
that, you know,
yeah,
ego.
yeah. So am I making sense with this? Does it
Yeah,
make, is
man.
this all, because I know you're the philosopher, so I'm a little
Yeah,
nervous.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Socrates, the first punk, Schopenhauer, the second punk,
Yeah. The
and
transcendentalists that you
then
mentioned,
the transcendentalists are the
who
third punk.
inspired them, especially the Clash, nonconformity.
Yeah. So those are the four that I'm going to talk about. That I'm going to throw a lot at you that you know about. So anything before I leave and go and move on
Yeah, it's
after
good
Socrates?
bedrock.
Okay. All right. I don't know where to start. Should I go from 4 to 1? All right.
Yeah.
Let me go 4 to 1 because number one is I think the greatest philosopher. But
Right.
4, Kierkegaard.
Yeah.
How did he influence punk?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, how did you come across that? That's interesting.
Um, Existentialism. Because I mean, Kierkegaard, I think he's the father of existentialism to a point, or he influenced
No, he is the father.
Immanuel
No, no,
Kant.
he is the father of
Yeah,
existential.
and Immanuel Kant, he influenced.
Yeah. Subjectivity, individual. That's the key thing with them, individual. And I think
Yeah,
punks advocate for that. Like, if you listen to Yes, they're
yeah,
spiritual.
yeah,
Floyd,
100%.
also spiritual. Human
Yeah,
nature, global.
yeah.
Genesis, religious. It's in their name. I know.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I
They're
might
the
get a
most
lot of flack
religious.
for that.
Yeah,
Rock and roll, believe it or not, rock and roll grew out of Christianity in the churches.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's a community aspect. Punks are taking the approach of, it's really funny because Soren Kierkegaard is the father of existentialism, so we'll start there
Yeah,
and focusing on individual existence.
yeah.
So instead of saying, like we're part of a collective, what you saw in the hippie movement, nah, they're
Or
saying,
young, or the opposite of young, collective
right,
consciousness.
right. They're all about screw that.
Yeah,
Like your truth is not my truth. The subjectivity problem, which I kind of disagree with, but the subjectivity is punk, the subjectivity, and this is
yeah,
my truth, and F you. Like I'm not conforming. Like so you're seeing this potent mix.
yeah, yeah. So,
And
I
also,
mean,
also, what do you think about this? Like he talked about anxiety and dread, and he talked about the dizziness of freedom. What do you think about that?
that's a tough one to even concept. Like, I get the anxiety and dread. I do it every day at when I punch in. Uh, you know, I could feel that. But say the second one again. The the second quote. The anxiety and dread, and then you said something else.
The dizziness of freedom. That's what he talked about.
Oh,
Which, by the way,
freedom.
will set up philosophers like um
Start.
Sartre, which he's going to talk
Camus,
about that
Camus, or
because a
Camus.
lot of these kids are born in this world, a lot of freedom, but then they
Yeah.
realize, well, wait, are we really free? Like,
Well, that almost goes back to the hippies.
well, their solution was it's all good, man, love, man,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
it turned out to LSD with tune in, tune out.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But obviously that became a really dark, show
yeah,
after.
yeah, yeah,
So like then the 70s, happened, recession and all
yeah.
that. But Kierkegaard's interesting because he the only difference with Kierkegaard is religious. He was religious.
He was.
So
Yeah,
you cannot forget that. But I think why you mentioned him is going to set up the existentialist movement,
yeah. Hmm.
which is influential on punk.
Oh,
Especially,
I think. I mean, it's hard to say who. I think it's an amalgam of all these people that
yeah.
are making punk. It's hard to pick one. I mean, Socrates would be the original punk rocker
Oh,
going back
100%.
to
Yeah.
his time.
Yeah.
Um, but Kierkegaard is leading us to the existentials. Any more on Kierkegaard? You want to say?
No, no, I think that's a good like bedrock too, because we're
Okay.
building.
And now from Kierkegaard, I'm going to say these names wrong, but we're going to go to number three on my list, Camus.
Albert Camus. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, actually, before one more thing on quick that I just forgot is he also talked about you know how Schopenhauer talked about the aesthetic as an escape.
yeah.
So Kierkegaard also talked about the aesthetic, but what he was talking about he came up with this theory of the three stages of life. So
Wow.
good, and one of the ones is the aesthetic, the
Hmm.
recipe for boredom.
Right,
Like
right.
to me, they're bored.
Yeah, they're bored. I mean, but they're bored out of not having nothing. There's
Yeah.
no rich kids. There's no rich kids going to punk shows in London in
Mhm.
1976, 77. You know, like I said, it's the kids that have nothing.
No,
The,
no, and
the
that's the thing.
broken homes.
So they pursue pleasure in these shows because they get a pleasure out of it.
And the epitome of punk rock boils down to one person. Sid Vicious is punk rock. And we're gonna do a whole show on Sid and Nancy too, but
Yeah.
like if you were to break down Sid, I mean, he came from a broken home, father left, mother a junkie. All he knew was heroin in his life. Mother got remarried, complete loser stepfather. He would come home. He didn't even go to school probably, or whatever he did. When he come home, his mom stoned on the couch, and he'd probably join her. And then at night, he'd go to the clubs and he'd see and meet people like him. And he wanted to join the bands, and he did as a singer for Susie and the Banshees. So he's the epitome of like existentialism. Sid Vicious really is like walking. He was walking existentialist, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a good call for Sid Vicious?
I think it's right.
I mean, and doing self harm to himself with heroin, cutting himself, living on the edge in a dangerous life. Where somebody like
Mhm.
Johnny Rotten was a lot more smarter. Now people might be saying like, why the Sex Pistols? Because the Sex Pistols, why I keep referring to them, they're punk. They're the reason why punk exists
Mhm.
as punk.
Hmm.
They're the Beatles, in my opinion, of
Hmm.
punk. So
Hmm.
you got to go with the Pistols. And I think Johnny Rotten is a little bit smarter. He sees, I don't want to be like Sid Vicious.
Yeah, yeah.
Steve Jones is completely smarter than all of them. He's a musician. He's writing songs about these people. He's writing the lyrics. He's reading the philosophy. So that's just my take on Sid.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on Sid, Aleister Crowley, or
Future episodes. Oh,
Sid Vicious, Aleister Crowley, and Layla Waddles. Man, I will rant and rave about these people. Um, so Camus. Now, how much further Kierkegaard is like 20 years before
he's like the
Camus?
same time as Schopenhauer, middle 1800s.
Yeah. Camus much later,
He is the modern
1880s.
existentialist. No, no, so 1920s.
Oh, he's even further. Okay, because my timeline's bad on that. Okay, now he's the worst attitude because he has. I can't stop thinking like Sid Vicious comes to mind for all this. The only escape is
Suicide.
suicide.
Yep.
Camus is saying that.
Yep.
And what happens to Sid and Nancy? Supposedly a death letter love pack.
A lot of rock stars, if they
Yeah.
follow this, they follow kind of
Romeo and Juliet. It goes,
That Camusian philosophy. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's like also this idea of the absurd where the universe is indifferent to you. So it's like, how he came up with this obviously is an influence on so many things that we already talked about, but it's like how do we search for meaning? And I
yeah,
feel like from the punk perspective, that's what they're trying to do, search for meaning.
yeah.
And the universe is
Well,
silent.
are they finding that meaning? Because they're finding when you find meaning, you're not angry. Your angst goes away.
Hmm.
They're not really finding it. They're getting more angry in a sense.
Well, that's the thing. And actually going back to Camus, um the suicide, hopefully no one actually does this, right? Like no Ozzy
Yeah,
Osbourne
yeah, no,
suicide solution.
we're
No,
we're
no,
anti-suicide. We're just talking
no.
about a philosopher who
Right, right.
had a
And
horrible theory about this.
the philosophical suicide. But it's like the problem is like he kind of framed it as like a metaphorical escape from the absurd. How do you
Right.
escape the absurd? It's similar to Schopenhauer, but Schopenhauer didn't say that, but his ideas are art and actually one that the punks, I don't know if they would agree with compassion. He actually was a big advocate for that, funny enough. But um, but the purpose, lack of purpose, like, and you try to, and again, no God in this equation. It
No.
sounds like never mind the bollocks.
Right.
So it's like, what do you do? Like, how do you resolve this tension? And I think that's the punk dilemma.
Yeah. And going back, I don't want to bring up suicide, but when you think about it, Sid and Nancy, they both died.
That was their solution. Yeah.
That was their solution.
Mhm.
A theory that they had a death pact. Any more on Camus?
No, keep going.
And then going up to the king of existentialism. You know who that is? The
Sorry.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it's the punk all the way. Even the anarchy conclusion. He
Right.
became an anarchist.
So what makes him different than Camus?
The difference is okay, so the influence. Sartre is influenced by Martin Heidegger. Phenomenology. That's the difference.
Okay. Now Heidegger is after Kierkegaard or before Kierkegaard? Or
After.
around after.
Heidegger, no, after. They're writing at the same time.
Okay.
They're writing at the same time. So like it stems from phenomenology, Husserl, this
Hmm.
idea of like doing philosophy. Now Heidegger comes up. You will have. I'm surprised you didn't mention Heidegger, Dasein, being in the world. But anyway, without going there because it's not a philosophy class. But Sartre was he came up with the most punk message. And by the way, I don't agree nothing with Sartre. But
Hmm.
he said, now the philosophers, classic philosophy says that essence precedes existence, right? Do you know what that
Yeah.
means?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So for yes, for example, close to the edge. Close to the edge is about that. The
Yeah.
meaning of life, right? Before you exist. That's
Right.
what you say, close to the edge. Edge is that life now. But
Yeah.
what is that close to the edge feeling? Um, Sartre says, no, no, existence precedes essence. He kind of did a punk thing.
It
You
flips it.
you live before you even think about. Like that's what he's trying to say.
Just live life and die young, basically. You know.
Sartre then comes up with this building on Heidegger's being in the world philosophy, and this is like phenomenology. What does it mean to be?
Yeah.
And Shakespeare famously in the 1500s echoed this: to be or not to be. That is the question.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So he goes back to the Sartre answers this from a Kierkegaardian and Heideggerian and going back to Schopenhauerian perspectives. Like
Nothingness. Nothingness.
well, that and his book is called Being and Nothingness because
Yeah.
then he goes on this, and Heidegger did it first, so he's building on these ideas
Yeah.
where, and again, punks are that's the punk philosophy in a nutshell. You know,
Yeah.
what does it mean to be in this world? At the same time, trying to define like, carve out
Or
your.
when I studied existentialism real heavy and about 12, 14 years ago, I
Mhm.
wrote a whole piece of music about it, a prog piece. And the way I looked at it was existing. Existence is the most important thing about existentialism. How you exist, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends. What do you mean by that?
Okay. And I brought this up to you before. Okay. I'm a man in bed in a coma. Okay. I'm not dead. I'm alive. My brain might be dead, but
Dude, that's the cognitive dilemma right now between people like the Christian or whatever, or people that believe that you're still living.
they want to euthanize you.
Right. That's the dilemma,
Right,
right?
right.
That's one of the ethical dilemmas right now.
So let's just say I'm that guy. I'm in a coma for the rest of my life. But I'm not dead. My heart's beating. If your heart's beating, you're alive. Wait. If your heart is beating, are you existing?
Well, then some people would say no. I obviously I disagree with that, but just the arguments I'm hearing.
Right. So just going back,
Because you're not conscious.
in his time,
But
like what I'm saying is, a man in a coma is existing, or a man who's paralyzed, can't walk, just sits there, like is existing, right? Has a horrible life. The same guy who's got millions of dollars, traveling the world, living his life,
mm,
he's existing. It's still existing, but on just two different levels. Is that fit into existentialism?
yeah, that's one of the dilemmas. And then
That
start with say existence precedes essence. So who you are doesn't matter. It's your existence.
right, right. So that was always my example of existentialism,
Mhm.
and I wrote that piece about it. So,
Mhm.
but yeah,
No,
euthanizing people,
no,
that's a
and
tough
also
one.
no, and also
That's
like the purpose too. Like going back to Sartre, like he thought that you know how like from a God perspective you are born with purpose.
yeah,
No, so
it should
Sartre would
be.
say no, you're not born with purpose because the
You have to
universe is
find it. You have to find
you
your
have to
purpose.
define yourselves through responsibility, radical freedom and action, which is sort of what the punks do.
Totally
The,
what they
the
do.
only difference is that um it obviously ends in flames and like a lot of them don't survive. Like
No, you
yeah,
can't survive living this life. All the philosophers we're talking about, you can't survive, right? If you follow Camus, no, you're not gonna survive.
I mean his
Schopenhauer,
claim for the absurdist again, similar to Sartre, where he says you have to live bravely. They put freedom and choice as sort of like the defining things about you. So you build your character.
yeah,
But obviously with the punks they don't do that.
no.
They just destroy, which anarchy, which a
The
lot of it because
question,
they don't survive.
the question is, back in the day, who followed these philosophers? What kind of people?
They had an influence on a lot of things.
There was punk, then punk goes back. Prehistoric punk is the people that followed Schopenhauer and Camus
Hmm.
and Kierkegaard and Sartre. You
Hmm.
know, that's prehistoric punk rock right
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
Because it's going against everything. It's going against the norm,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or is it the norm to them? That's the existentialist. Makes you think on both sides,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? I mean, I'm not a fan of existentialism, but I find it so interesting,
It's interesting. Like,
because it's opposite of the positivity of other philosophies where you want to live and live your life and get deep
right.
inside your brain and
Right.
like
But
Zen,
honestly, but now everybody
like,
lives as it's so sad because everybody lives like that.
well,
The punks are an
like
example.
Lao Tzu is completely different.
Oh
He it's
no,
like
Lao Tzu is different.
yeah,
Lao Tzu
yeah,
is a recipe for finding the Tao and like really looking in nature, which is
yeah.
actually back to the transcendentalists, which is kind of similar.
Right, right,
Now,
right.
punks, because they were living in metal Birmingham or factories,
Yeah.
they didn't give a shit about this, like the
No. And
nature.
right now in the world in 2026, are we back to existentialism?
You know what it is? There is an existential dilemma. And you know what's sad? Nietzsche's death of God is true right now.
Well, he's coming up.
Coming, the storm. I think
I'm,
he's the ultimate punk, though. He is definitely the ultimate, like um punks that what a punk statement. We kill a god. Like, dude.
yeah.
And I don't agree with that, by the way.
You want to go to
Go
Nietzsche
ahead, yeah, yeah.
or anything
Because of time's sake, yeah, because yeah.
anything left on Sartre?
Nah, we'll put it there. That was good.
Okay. So Nietzsche, God is dead because society killed him, right?
Yeah, that's
Punk.
punk.
That's as punk as
The
it
end of the
gets.
day. Punk is in a way anti-religious.
So, okay, Nietzsche is an he's an existentialist.
Nietzsche?
Yeah.
No.
No, he's not.
He's in a class of his own.
Is he influenced by the existent? Was he influenced by Kierkegaard?
So so
This is
think
where I get confused. There's like the
yeah,
line,
of
like
course.
Nietzsche was influenced by Kierkegaard, so it does make him inspired by existentialism.
No, no, no. I don't think he was influenced by no, dude, he's in a class of his own. Like he was more, you know what he wanted to do? He want he wanted to destroy philosophy. So very punk. He
Yeah,
rejected Plato. He rejected Aristotle. He rejected Christianity and
yeah.
instead used the philosophy to build something.
Right,
And
right, right.
now, I'm not. I don't think he was in my opinion. He was an existentialist, and unless you think so. But he did come up with this idea of will to power.
Yeah, which we'll
Fascinating, and
get
the
into. Yeah,
Dionysus versus Apollo mentality as well.
yeah. He took in
He, he,
The Greek
he said, "Screw,
mythology.
screw Apollo, Dionysus."
Yeah,
You
follow your art and
know?
the god of wine and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, give me another example of Nietzsche on punk, like you think.
Yeah. So okay. So ready. So first, will to power. Build your own. Like from the startup reject very similar, for example, like when Johnny Bryan was wearing Pink Floyd sucks or die or whatever,
Yeah,
he's saying screw this, they suck, and matter of fact we are going to grow and create and overcome what we think is corruption in rock. This is not rock, right?
yeah,
And it's a drive, right? So it's gonna they're gonna build their and they are going to seek happiness in a way as well
yeah.
because they're not happy. So they're going to use music to build this happiness. I think
Right,
that's
right.
one way. Um, and kind of something like God is Dead, Pink Floyd sucks. I mean, that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
very similar.
yeah, yeah,
Um, there's also this interesting idea of God is Dead as well, where total rejection of anything of the past. Like Nietzsche was anti Plato, like anti Socrates, anti
yeah.
Aristotle, and instead he wanted to build something.
Yeah.
And then also another cool idea is the Ubermensch. That's punk where they're rising above.
Uber.
And
Yeah.
actually, Black Flag has a song called Rise Above,
Right. So,
right?
yeah, yeah. Well, Henry Rollins, he was studying all this shit. You know,
Yep. Yep. And this
he's
idea
a
of love
smart
of
guy.
fate, amor fati as well. That's another
Yeah.
idea. Love of fate and realizing your potential. But yeah, he's interesting. Like he's not really an existentialist. Like um he's more he's punk. More like just flame. Like I'm
Yeah.
destroying all of this. Like now I don't agree with Nietzsche at all, in my opinion. Now he's a smart dude though.
I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with some of his stuff. I was reading, the book Will to Power
Yeah.
because we're
Well,
getting into
well, the
the
problem with him
will.
is, well, and why he's punk is like he's to be a Christian, he called you a slave. You have this
Yeah,
slave
the
mentality.
religious part I don't I disagree with. Like
But
because
as
being
part of his
be
philosophy, you need to take it, but that's a starting point.
right.
He thinks in the genealogy of morals, he thinks that um Christianity has created this society where um the weak, the sheep, the ugly, the have taken over because of Christianity. Because the last will be first, not the first will be last. Nietzsche
Right.
wants the first to be last. Now, going back to punk, they are a flame where they're like very similar. Like
Yeah, yeah,
bullocks, they're torching everything. But what are they building in their place? That's the mystery. Like
yeah.
Nietzscheing in the attitude, right? The and definitely influences there. I could see Rotten wearing God is Dead t-shirt with pride,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And very similar where they're saying Pink Floyd sucks or I don't know.
It's the same thing. Johnny Rotten made his own shirt that said
Mhm.
Pink Floyd sucks. So it's kind of like saying God is dead because
Yep,
Pink Floyd was God
yep,
at that
yeah,
time in England, especially if you wore a Pink Floyd shirt sucks in 1976, you're saying God is dead because rock and roll society is going to kill him.
yep.
Very Nietzschean,
Yep.
you know.
Individualism, yeah, life affirming. That I think punk is rejecting morality, traditional morality and
Yeah,
religion, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah. No religion in there, you
no.
know. So, well, yeah, that's. I mean, before we get into our show on will, that's our show on philosophy of punk. So, out of all the philosophers, we talked about a lot of them: the transcendentalists, the classics, Socrates. Um, uh, um, we talked about the Kierkegaard, Camus, and Schopenhauer. Who is the most influential on the punks?
Thinking about it now, Nietzsche.
Nietzsche,
Yeah.
more than Schopenhauer.
With a dash of Schopenhauer in there. But those two are different, and they didn't. The more I think about it, they didn't influence each other. They're different.
Yeah,
Schopenhauer was reacting to Kant,
right.
right? And no, not Kant. Kant.
Yeah, you can read my mind. That's when you know
Okay, wait,
we're
tell.
hanging
It
out. We're
was
hanging
funny.
out a
I
lot
said as a
together.
joke, in one of my classes about naming them, I was like, "Yeah, guys, Charles Dickens."
Oh,
I'm
forget
like,
about it.
"Oh, of course." Or I said, and a priest, uh, I went to a retreat, and the priest was mentioning something about John Hancock, and I could
Yeah,
like just snickers. I'm like, I can't.
I know.
Anyway, but Nietzsche, I think, is one, and Schopenhauer in terms of the only thing with Schopenhauer is so Nietzsche is the blade, Schopenhauer is the flame. Like that's the way I can describe
Right.
with punk. It
Yeah,
creates the genre that we call punk in a way.
yeah,
Punk is the answer to those philosophies, not Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard is sort of like Kierkegaard would be like the Muddy Waters, the
yeah,
people who rock should be indebted to, right? Because
yeah.
punk should be indebted to Muddy Waters. They build,
Right.
but these
Yeah.
dudes are just like destroying and then building. Now, the Clash would be an example of the Ubermensch where they're trying to build,
Yeah.
right? Or the New York scene, like punks, Patti Smith, whatever,
Yeah. More
television,
artsy.
right?
Yeah,
Uh,
art punk.
right. Sex Pistols, Nietzsche.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
God is dead,
So
and we
what
have
would the New York scene be more inspired by?
New York scene would be the transcendentalists,
Right. That's a
I
good
think that's
point.
the way, and then the stuff in England is more of the the Schopenhauer,
Right.
the Nietzsche, the Camus. Life is to commit
So
suicide.
so so like Camus and
And
Nietzsche,
Sartre, by the way, Sartre as well.
Camus, Sartre, Nietzsche, Schopenhauer. Punk was written already by those guys.
I Yeah, and even going back, the first punk Socrates, even though they now the punks would kill him,
Yeah,
they would reject him like Nietzsche did.
yeah.
Because Nietzsche,
'Cause-
like, and again, going back to Nietzsche, I love Nietzsche, like studying him
Right.
because uh like in the genealogy of morals, which I love that work, but in that work, he was trying to say that Christians have morality. Do you think morality exists?
No, you have to have morals
Why?
to be a good person.
What does it mean to be a good person? Why should you be a good person?
Because
Who tells you, by the way, and by the way, who tells you who to be a good person?
if you follow the Bible and
No, no, then that means you have that slave mentality. You're just a sheep. You're
that's
actually,
the
and Nietzsche would say you're immoral for that. Now, by the way, I don't agree with this. That's the way, when you read Nietzsche's dangerous, especially if you're not ready, because it'll destroy your Christianity. It's dangerous
yeah, yeah,
because he
yeah.
questions you like that. And no,
Now,
punks do the
how did
same
he
thing.
lose? Well, yeah, how did he lose his mind?
Well, God's
That
punishment.
thought, will God punish them or
Well,
that
another
that
theory is that he lived his philosophy, and someone that lives his philosophy, by the way, sounds as familiar to punks, a lot of punk bands, people that actually live that philosophy end up like him.
it's vicious. It's
Kurt Cobain,
yeah, it's
Richard
true.
Hell,
Yeah, yeah. That's true.
Iggy
That's
Pop, drug addiction. Yeah, I mean, Iggy Pop, luckily he's still alive, but
yeah, 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 yeah,
anyway, but I just saying, like, a lot of
yeah.
suicides for sure, drugs. A lot of punk bands didn't survive. The smart ones realized, yeah, we gotta kind of like not do this. Like the
Well,
Clash,
the Clash is the
they're the
epitome
famous ones that
of
kind
the
of like,
punk. Yeah,
yeah, we're gonna leave that behind and embrace classic rock.
exactly. And they did, and the Buzzcocks and the Jam, and
Yep. Oh, for sure.
and forget all the well, the CBGB bands don't count because they weren't
Well, they
the
were
talk.
art rock. They're more of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
transcendentalists. Like
yeah.
Talking Heads
They
were
don't want to hurt people
no,
themselves.
and when people kept calling them punks, they were like, "What is that?" Like
Yeah,
they were confused by the label.
right. That's true. Yeah. So, all right. If you got a minute, we'll talk about.
Yeah,
I have a question, but
yeah.
so we're gonna go with Nietzsche and Schopenhauer. Are those are the number
The
one
punk
punk
philosophers. Yeah,
philosophers?
yeah,
Now, people might watch this and be like, "What are you guys talking
yeah.
about? You
We are
guys are
smoking,
nuts!" But there is philosophy in punk, and if you're a philosopher
fueled
like
by
we
it.
are, well, I'm a student of philosophy. Manny's the real philosopher here,
Compliment, man.
which I'm learning. Um, there's a philosophy in every kind of music,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
punk, I really wanted to know in my encyclopedia of punk where they got their philosophy from. And I think we nailed it. I think we nailed it with all these philosophers. And in the comments, if you could think of more philosophers, put them in that we didn't mention. I'm
Yeah,
sure-
we like to hear what you think. Punk
Yeah,
is fueled by. That'd be great. Yeah, and
yeah.
if you disagree, you can kindly go
Or do you
comment.
disagree? Like, well, oh no, guys just got up there and they screamed shit about Pauline getting an abortion and stuff like that. They didn't read Camus. They didn't. No, these guys did. Henry Rollins quoted Nietzsche.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
these guys were smart.
significant, right?
They didn't look as dumb as they looked. You know what
No,
I
no,
mean? Like on stage.
Johnny Ryan was educated, and
He was very
he won't
educated.
admit it, but yeah,
Yeah,
very
you know.
smart dude.
Yeah. All right, so that'll wrap up our philosophy, and this was the beginning of our We're gonna get into the philosophy. What do we call it? The esoteric
The
hour?
esoteric hour. We're gonna have more episodes on this, and
Yeah,
watch out, the will. We're gonna be talking about that.
we're talking a lot about the will. Yeah, so I got to bring this up before we go. I know it's getting late, and we just did almost 5 hours
Another marathon
of
session,
a
dude. I
podcast,
know, and we
which
could
is
go for like 10 hours. Like it's crazy.
but yeah, we could be like, what's the crazy guy, Mister?
Sid, pass me that needle, man.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Wait,
no, kids don't do drugs. Horrible.
no, no, no.
Nah,
Don't
no
don't
joke.
listen to Sid Vicious's music, but don't live his lifestyle.
Yeah.
please. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't. Um, Speaking of music, there was a show that played on Sunday, which, the Grammys. You could, I'm not gonna rant and rave about it because just go to any Instagram reel and
Yeah.
there'll be somebody going for the nonsense on that. But here's my question. Why did not Geese, why weren't they
Yeah.
winning? Why weren't they on the show? Why weren't they nominated? Did they not sell enough downloads or whatever like that?
Yeah, it is
What's your
fascinating.
theory on that?
So, based on like a lot of music critics, and like what I'm noticing, okay, so first Geese is indie rock, and you know the indie scene, right?
Yeah,
it's the underground.
yeah.
Um,
But
that's why
Nirvana was an indie band at one time.
100%. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
100%. But what's interesting with Geese is that they have now are they're crossing to the mainstream. So why not what happened with the Grammys, right? Why wouldn't they not nominate for I would have thought that at least album of the year because they released a landmark album.
Oh yeah.
Um not even asked to perform on the Grammys, which is strange. Cameron Winter
I
solo
mean, his
album,
solo album, Heavy
heavy
Metal.
metal,
That I
nothing.
mean, like you got people like who was a big guy like Ed Sheeran or whatever a couple years ago. That dude, singer songwriter. Cameron Winters blows this fucker off the planet. It's fucking. I don't want to say what I want to say. We used to work with one, you know. I mean, you could do a bleep, could you? But
No,
come
no,
on.
yeah. No, no.
But I mean, come on,
It's
really?
strange. Now, what I think is that they're still indie. I'm so shocked that they were on SNL. Like, I am still shocked with that.
Well, I think when you're that popular in New York City,
No, no,
in the
it makes
borough,
sense. It makes sense.
you gotta be on SNL.
It
I
makes
mean,
sense. And, and,
but
and looking at who the Grammys chose to perform again, without being too negative, um, I was like, dude, at least put Geese in there. Like,
what the people at the Grammys, I don't consider them artists. I consider them entertainers. Geese are artists, you know,
mhm,
and when you're an entertainer, you're not used to seeing a live rock band perform and feel that energy.
mhm,
There's no auto tune. There's no straight synthesizer drums that's perfect. There's a drummer that might be behind the beat, in front of the beat. They might be out of tune. The singer's singing out of tune. There's a lot of noise and static. There's a
mhm.
lot of bleeding with the instruments. I don't think people could people handle that shit anymore, or does it have to be perfect, auto tuned, wall of sound
Which
in
is
this
what you
era?
heard on the Grammys. A lot
Yeah,
with a lot of performances, yeah.
and you got to have dancers, and you got to dress with in a plastic dress, and then you got to go up and have your speech, and you have to say something about, I'm not going to get into it, but say something about a cause. So it's not even about the music; it's about what cause is going on.
And I have to give it to Geese. When they performed SNL, first of all, they chose Trinidad, which I give them props, like because that song is like what you're talking about. It
Yeah,
is loud. It is, and he doesn't even say nothing, no message. He comes up, and the song itself is so mysterious too, because
yeah,
Trinidad. Now it can mean two things. First, the Spanish word for Trinity, and
yeah,
religion. Trinidad, and we kind of talked about like that not getting killed out. There's a religious element to it.
right,
Um, or the place Trinidad, where people go to vacation or whatever.
yeah.
Maybe
Trinidad, Tobago, or something like
Tobago,
that.
right? But when you listen to the song, it's like I try so hard, and then Cameron Winters just singing in a great voice, and then yells out in this like sort of psychotic way, like there's a bomb in my car, like my baby's dead, like.
I mean, yeah,
What is he talking about? I mean, we could be here for hours. What is he talking about? But that being said, it's like he doesn't go out, this song is for Minneapolis, or or this song is for, like, we support the Democrats or whatever. I'm just like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
no, you just let the music speak to itself, which sadly is what the Grammys is missing. And yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not sure what the right solution is here. I think you're hitting. Most people will not be ready for rock performances. Like I,
No, no. And even the rock performances, the rock ones, like the guy Post Malone, he's the rocker, you know? Okay. I
Mhm.
guess he's the rocker in 2026. I'm not going to say anything negative, you know what I mean? He's the rocker. He's the big rocker guy. Okay. I don't, not, without trying to be negative, but I don't see the rockingness in that performance. I just see a tattooed guy who's pretty good that doesn't really do any, not to be like Camus here. I don't really get anything from him.
Right, right.
I don't get anything from his art. He's good though. I like Jelly Roll because I think he has talent. I think he's got legitimate talent as a songwriter. You
Mhm.
know. Other than that, I think it's dead. Like everything is dead, sort of like as far as the Grammys. There's not going to be rock anymore at the Grammys, unfortunately. In the
Mhm.
way we like it, we like it.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
You know. But who knows? Who knows what can happen in 5 years? I don't think it's going to change. But I think what's going to happen in 5 years, they're always going to go up there and play, and they're going to have a cause. It's more about the cause now.
That's what it
There's
seems.
always going to be a cause now.
Yeah.
20 years ago, there was not a cause. It was about music. The world is in shambles right now. Yeah, and it's good that people bring things to the attention, but it's overwhelming when you want to hear music.
And you see the problem in Oscars. Actors are preaching, and it's like,
I didn't even watch. I don't even follow
no,
that. I
I'm
don't know
saying like
nothing.
the
Yeah,
trend. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The trend is there too. It's
yeah,
like, just all right. Can we just focus on acting art, please? Like,
yeah. Like, what? Why do we got to? Everyone has to be a politician now. I know. I get it. I get it. I get it. There's a lot of shit going on. Everyone has an opinion, but I don't know. Go back to the old days of just doing your music and do the Jelly Roll speech. That was the best speech of the night. I didn't
Mhm.
watch it. I watched reels of it,
Mhm.
and it just and it's gonna be interesting on Sunday. That's gonna be
I'm
interesting.
curious. Yeah.
I'm curious to see the reaction.
I mean, because were you a fan of last year's Super Bowl or last performance?
No, I'm not. I'm
You
not
can
a
leave it at
fan.
that. You can leave it at that.
I'm
I,
not
I
a fan
remember,
of.
without going too much details,
I'm a
everybody.
fan of. I'm a fan of rap music. I like rap music, but I'm not a fan of modern rap music. It doesn't really. I think Kendrick Lamar is talented, for what he does in 2000, whatever. I know he goes way back, farther
Mhm.
than 2025, 26, but it doesn't really move me like Rush moves me, or
Don't
or
let certain
friggin'.
don't let certain people hear that.
But I'm just being honest about musical taste, It's what moves you. Some people might listen to Rush and be like, "Oh, they suck. I want to hear modern day. I want to hear Sabrina Carpenter. I don't want to hear Van de Graaff Generator. I don't want to hear the Sex Pistols. I want to hear I don't know, Jelly Roll. So it's a matter of what you like, and that's okay. But
And that should be the message to end.
that is the message to end, definitely. Well, this was good. This was our first my first attempt at philosophy. I hope I did good.
Oh
I
yeah.
hope I brought, some facts up. And you're the master, so I'm always nervous. Um, but yeah, so check us out. We have a lot of episodes. We really hit it hard on episodes. We got like this would be like the seventh one
Yeah.
to be
But and we already have like 80 already, so please go watch all of them.
yeah. But we have a whole bunch of new ones that are just taking different turns from prog to punk. Now we're jumping into philosophy. and give us your opinion on philosophy and the philosophy of punk. If you're just a philosopher and you happen to see this, let us know about your philosophy, who you like, and let us know if you agree about our philosophy about punk. So
And like this video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
definitely, man. All right, man.
All right.
Good. Almost
I
seven,
know,
like
man. All right,
5
dude.
hours of
Yo, it's a
podcasting.
dark joke. Put that noose away. Put that gun away, man. I don't want to see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no more Schopenhauer for a while, for at least 24 hours.
Yo, give it to the temple priest, maybe.
I
Here,
know.
here, man. He's a good read for you, man.
Oh, he probably fits the Schopenhauer, right? What philosopher would fit him?
He's more like he's more like, I don't want National Socialism.
Oh, like Karl Marx?
No, Nazi.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
my
Okay.
boy, man, he would send us to like that pizza chamber if you guys are trip.
Mussolini, the
Dude,
mentality.
my boy is more like yeah, he's more like yeah, like Mussolini. He's more like Stalin, if anything.
Oh
Maybe
my
more
God,
Stalin, like
Joseph Stalin. Yeah,
yeah.
jeez.
Well, he'll send
Yeah.
us to the our gulags, man.
Well, we're
We
gonna be in
are at the
trouble.
gulags. What total nightmare. He's like my boy Pharaoh in Exodus or whatever.
And we announced this in our last episode, but if you're a filmmaker and you want an
Yes.
idea for a
I,
film, we have the greatest film
I,
idea
no, we're gonna write
ever.
the script. I think we should do an episode just talking about it.
Yeah,
And if there's
yeah,
a director out there, maybe we'll come across them and just an idea
yeah.
they want to do, man, we'll do it.
Because I think it's I could totally see Jack Black in this movie, or or Adam Sandler. I think Jack Black should play this particular person.
Dude, that'll be so funny.
You
And
know?
by the way, like I figure like I don't, we obviously wouldn't play ourselves or whatever, but
Yeah, we have
it's
to
like
find people.
we would hire people and just like two
No.
friends. And it'll be like the new Beavis and Butthead,
Oh, that we are the new Beavis and
or
Butthead.
new South Park, or like Family Guy. And I don't
Yeah.
think no one has done this idea. Like it's existed, but we're taking it to like this like level.
Yeah, our idea for this movie, I think, is totally original that no one's ever come up with.
Yeah.
We're art.
Like just that joke with the jukebox, that has to be written down. And then and then he's like getting a roll of quarters, like because he counts the money, and then like freaking like someone that be like, hey, we going to the roll of quarters. Shut up! It's from our jukebox. And
He's
you
got
see like
like
no,
the
and he's
diner.
flipping through. That's a scene, and you see Van Graph generator. You see like Camel, like Rush,
The Sex Pistols, every episode we've ever done. Oh my God, I'm telling you, this is gonna be box office hit.
and then you go down there. Hey, do you mind if can't you have a quarter? Do you mind if I play a tune here?
Oh my God. Uh, but anyway, man, great 2 episodes in a row. This one was very fascinating and a lot of info in this. Thank you for your magical knowledge on philosophy. I learned a lot. I learned that Schopenhauer is I think I'm getting more closer to that guy.
Yeah, just don't worship him like
Every time I
Crowley.
wake up and it's 6 a.m. and I'm ready
Yeah,
to
you're
go
gonna have your
in,
Schopenhauer Bible. You're like,
or I could always download Layla Waddle's picture and put it to AI. It's come to
oh
my
yeah,
mind.
man, dude, you can do a lot with that.
Come to my mind today, you know? I could have her as my girlfriend.
Thanks, AI.
Thanks, AI. Give her an Australian accent and we're good. But on that note, keep on watching the Cheech and Manny show. And I'm fried right now. My
I know
brain is
we're
like
like
about
fried
to
on so many levels.
fall out. But great episode. Till next time. And then we got a bunch coming out. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And have a great night, Manny.
Guys, this is the Cheech and Manny Show, signing out.
And what's your slogan about music?
Oh, Can't forget that. I didn't see it on the next one. Anyway, but you are what you listen to.
Exactly.
Are what you
You,
listen to, so listen to what we tell you what to do. What we
and
tell you to listen to.
and you are what you read.
Oh, whoa,
If
that's
you
where I
know.
got it from.
Right, right, right.
You are what you listen to. And so what you listen to matters. That's gonna be my ending salvo.
So pick the right music and the right philosophers to listen to.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You are what you read, you are what you listen to, you are what you watch. So
Exactly. All
yeah.
right, man.
Jeez, man, brother, this was great, man.
All right.
I'll see you
Next,
in the temple
definitely.
on certain
Take
days.
care,
So
brother.
make sure you get your quarter and
Yeah, I got to
put
go to
something
the
in that
bank
jukebox.
tomorrow. I'll get $20 worth of quarters. Like
Thanks, man.
it's a diner jukebox.
Thanks, man.
Van de
Leave those
Graaff
quarters on the
generator.
metal table, and I'm gonna see while getting my Van Graaff generator out. I'm never gonna
What I'm gonna do when he walks up, I'm gonna throw a quarter on the floor. He's like, quarter.
quarter. Hey, gee, hey, that's my quarter. No, go read.
I hate you guys.
Ugh, suck me, Joe. Ugh.
Now you're doing philosophy. I love Schopenhauer.
Ugh,
Live by that.
I almost got a doctoral dissertation on it.
Imagine.
How funny will be if this dude went to like Cambridge or Harvard and got like his doctoral dissertation,
Well,
but
he's
then
going to after he sees this episode. He's gonna study
we have
philosophy.
inspired this dude to go study Kierkegaard or whatever.
Yeah, he wants to be an existentialist. God
And now
bless him.
it's gonna affect him. Now he's gonna come and he's gonna look at us and be like, "Go, existentialist."
Come, God is dead because the temple killed him. God is dead because Bezos killed him.
How funny is it? Like when he's doing the page or whatever, or that
Yeah.
message, and then he does the message and he goes like, "Oh, God is dead." I mean, I'm sorry, go on.
Pick up the fucking thing. Um, yeah, I need some help in the charcuterie. God is dead.
No,
Society killed him.
no, Christ is dead. I mean, God is dead.
Oh my God, dude. We're losing it.
I
But anyway,
yeah, anyway, Cheech, man, always thank you, brother. This is fun, guys.
yep,
Our fans out there, we love you. You are what you listen
yep.
to. Please subscribe and be part of the community. And Nanu, Nanu, second round.
Nanu, Nanu. Peace out. Bye.